hello. Chef Ryan is back, and my wife just gave me my nickname, Sleeveless Chef. So I'm the Sleeveless Chef, Ryan, and I'm just going to wait a few seconds, see if I get anybody coming in. All right, welcome. All right, so like I said earlier in my peanut butter cookie video, I wanted to show how to break down a large cut of meat, because as right now when you go to the store, the one thing that you might be seeing is that a lot of the already fabricated cuts of meat are gone, and there's a lot of larger cuts like whole pork picnic, whole standing rib roast, things like that. And a lot of people are going to shy away from those things because they're not really sure exactly what to do with it. Now, of course, beef tenderloin is not something you're going to buy weekly. It's more of a special occasion kind of thing. But I did want to show you how to break it down and then the two different things that you can do with it. That way, if you happen to get your stimulus check and go, hey, I want to do beef tenderloin, you can watch this video and remember how to do it. And it just takes practice. And of course, you can watch my video, and I know it's not as up close, so maybe trying to find, something on YouTube that's a little more up close might help you out. So this is whole beef tenderloin, and the nice thing about it is you're going to see me pull away a lot of pieces off of here, but I can clean those up and use those for what I would call scrap. And when I say scrap, what I mean is I can use them for stir fry. I'll slice them up real thin, and I'll do them in sort of a Chinese or Japanese style stir fry. So what I'm using is a very special knife. It's a boning knife. You can see it's not very tall, but it's extremely sharp, and it can bend. And the reason for the bend is that it's able to kind of get in between the bones when you're breaking down large cuts of meat. So this is what you want to use right here. I've also got my honing steel that I always will hone my knife before I use it, and that just kind of brings it back true, nice and sharp. I do keep this thing sharpened once every couple of months. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and open it up, and I have right now two half pans. One pan is going to be for my scraps, and then the other pan I'm going to put the good stuff in. And let me make sure that my garbage can is open and ready for me. Perfect. All right. Emily, what's going on? I'm going to be trying to show you something I know you've probably never done before. Cooking might be something pretty new to you. Ha ha ha, laugh, LOL. Miss you, Emily. So, going to take this cut of meat. We're going to open it. And there's two things that we're going to do here. There's some silver skin that we're going to have to kind of finely remove, and I'm still not, the best at it. I learned this through my chefs at the cooking school at Publix. Gustavo and Adam and Jean and Jeff and Emily. Whoops. They all kind of showed me how to do this. So here's what I'm going to do first is I don't even start cutting yet. I'm just going to kind of take my hands, and I can just pull off some of this silver skin off the top. Okay? You can see I can just kind of pull that away with little to no effort. That's why I'm the Sleeveless Chef. All right, now I know it's going to be kind of hard to see. I'm basically going to cut out this specific piece right here is going to be my fillet. From that, I'm going to get my fillet steaks. Okay, so I just kind of open that up a little bit, and that's when I'm going to get my knife out. Okay. So what I'm looking for is I have this beautiful deep red meat, and I want to be real careful as I'm trimming that I stay away from that, okay? And I'm going to make a cut kind of angled down towards the tip here, the tail end up here, and I'm just going to kind of break away, nice and easy, this piece right off the end here, okay? And again, the nice thing about fillet is we are going to be able to use a lot of this. Okay? So this piece right here is good meat. That's also another steak-ish. I won't cut that into a steak, but I will grill this and kind of cook it whole. Right here, off of this piece that I just kind of ripped off, if you spend some time, there is some meat that's usable off of there that's good scrap, so I'm going to put it in my scrap bucket, and I can kind of clean it up later. So now I'm kind of left with this nice looking tail here. Look at that. See, it just peels right off. Peels right off. We'll put that in scrap. Really nice. Now, this is the creme de la creme. This is when we want to be real careful. And what I typically will do is cut that end piece off right there, just to get it nice and even. And then I'm going to flip it over, and on this bottom side here, take some of that off. On this bottom side, you'll notice there is a little bit of fat. Now I cut and kind of run a straight line, not very deep, along that part there. And I'll just kind of look to start like right here. Okay, because up here it looks really nice. That meat looks good. Okay, you're really just trying to look where you see some of that tough, chewy fat. Okay? Now we turn it back over. So, when I talked to you about the silver skin, I know it might be hard to see. We're talking about this shiny skin that's right on the top. Now that you can't actually rip off. You have to actually get your knife underneath there to clean that. Okay? So what you do, using your knife, and this is why your knife has to be super sharp. Okay, and so I'll kind of put my knife real gently right underneath, and I'll just kind of glide it along like that. And then I'll cut back towards the tail like this. And this is where the precision comes in. This is where I do okay, but of course I'm not as good as, you know, some of my other chefs from the school who have many, many years of experience doing this. So I'm going to finish cutting this. Now, you have two choices once you get this all broken down. If you watched my video for from Erica's birthday, I did it whole. And the benefit of that is it doesn't take very long, but it's good for serving for a party. Instead of having to really worry about a bunch of steaks, I can just kind of marinate it, cook it whole, and then slice it to order. And I'll kind of flip this like this. See, it looks really, really nice. So you got to take some time, kind of get all that silver skin off as much as possible. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect, but the more of that silver skin that we get off, the better, and the less chewy, because that silver skin is chewy. And when you're eating something like filet, you want to make sure there is no chewy. Okay? Now, when I do like pork tenderloin, I don't spend as much time really cleaning that down because there typically isn't a ton on pork tenderloin, and that tends to cook down a little bit and be okay. But if I see some larger, thicker pieces, then I'll kind of clean them up. Now, it's essential that you have the right knife in order to do this, okay? Because if you're just trying to use a chef knife, it's going to be a little bit difficult, and it might be actually a little too big in order to be able to kind of get that fine cut that you need. Okay? Okay, so I pretty much got it pretty much cleaned up. Looks pretty good. Okay? So, what I'll typically do, cut this end here, okay? Because remember, we're really thick right here, and then we start to get thinner on both sides. So we have to be kind of careful. Again, I'm not throwing this away. This is good meat that I'll slice up for, you know, tacos or just to serve over rice. So for steaks, what I'm going to do, starting here, okay, and my end piece is going to be a little taller, okay, but there's a steak right there. Okay, you don't need to cut these super big. So let's see how many we're going to get. And if you're one where like, well, Ryan, I'm not really sure how to make them perfectly even, you can just do that. I just put it right next to against, and then cut down. Boom. And you want a sharp knife. You don't want to sit here and hack at it. you want to be able to basically make like 1 or 2 cuts, and that's it. And you can see when you're looking at this fillet, and you're looking at the edges, there's basically no fat and no silver skin. So that's a perfectly looking steak. So what I'm going to do is put these steaks, and I put them in my pan here. So far I have 6, 7, looks like I'm getting about 9 steaks out of this. Now this one, as you can see, is going to be a little bit taller, so it may not grill up as perfectly, but I got 9 steaks out of that. So let me just kind of show you real quick here. Really, really nice, easy. So I chose to kind of cut these up into steaks, and what I'm going to do is I've preheated my grill already because I want to get it screaming hot. And these are going to sit out and kind of come to room temperature. If you remember before, I've talked about this a couple times in my videos. We always want to let our meat, before we grill it, to kind of come up to temperature a little bit so we don't shock it. We're not putting a piece of steak that's been sitting in your fridge at 40 degrees right on the grill. We want to let it kind of sit out for about a half hour to an hour right before you start to grill it. What I will do, that was pretty quick actually. It only took 5-10 minutes. I hope my chefs are proud of me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to season these with some salt and pepper. That's all I do. And then I'll show you, I'll do another live video in about 10 minutes. I'm going to get out there on the grill and kind of show you how to get some of those really nice grill marks on your steak. Okay? So please leave some comments, some questions if you have them. If you also get another kind of meat that you're like, I'd love to learn how to do, you know, a pork picnic or whatever. I'm looking for people to leave me a comment, ask me questions. I'm happy to do another video on a whole pork picnic. It's another cut of meat I do a lot. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned some things. I'm going to kind of pick up the phone here, and I'll kind of show you real quick up close. Right? Those are the steaks, really nice and tall. Those are going to be really good. And again, scraps. Now what I do is I'm just going to go through those scraps, just clean up any of the fat, and the rest, if I get big pieces, I might cook them whole. Otherwise, I'll just kind of slice them up real thin and use them for stir fry, and they are perfectly good. It's just they're not going to be that nice, perfect steak. So I'll see you guys back in about 10-15 minutes.